Hey students, welcome to the week 6 overview of my online class. So a couple things I want to talk to you guys about first was first, you guys did a great job on the Socratic seminars that we did last Wednesday and Friday. I thought that you guys did awesome. So for those of you that were able to jump on, you're good to go for the most part. I'm really impressed with what you've done. However, I know there's a lot of you that weren't able to get on for whatever reason. If you weren't able to get on, please jump on the live session of my class on Wednesday, and we can do your reassessment then. And if that doesn't work for you, just shoot me an email, and we'll find a time to connect. For the most part, I want this assessment to be again like a face-to-face sort of discussion back and forth. If that doesn't work, like if we've used every single sort of alternative idea that we could think of, then I'll probably have you write an essay. Okay. But if you want to, get a good grade in class, if you want to, pass, jump on Wednesday. Okay. So we can do that. So guys, we're in the final stretch of the year. We are about the last 4 weeks of the whole school year, with the school year getting a little bit shorter for us. So we're on our last unit. So it's kind of exciting. For this last unit, we're going to be doing a research project. And specifically, we're going to be doing a research project on a social movement or time period that took place in the United States. And I'm going to talk more about that later. The idea of this project, if you look at the objectives up here, is I want you guys to learn how to write informative text. And that doesn't mean that we're going to be writing an essay. We're actually going to be doing a presentation with a PowerPoint, but you need to learn how to write informatively, non-biased, academically, things like that. And then also we're going to be conducting academic research. So basically what I'm telling you guys there is we are going to be getting away from Google for the most part, and we're going to be going to more academic places to find research that's reliable and credible. Okay, so throughout this whole project, we're going to find 4 different sources. 2 of those sources are going to be from the Utah Online Library. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. And then 1 source is going to be a source just from like the World Wide Web, so mostly Google. And then another source we will find on a multimedia platform. So basically that means a video. We're going to find a source through a video. Okay. And then after we find those 4 sources, we're going to be creating a PowerPoint presentation. We're going to do that the last week of this course. Okay. So let's talk about the first assignment that you need to complete in the class. Okay. So if you look here, it's called Different Social Movements Project Choice. So we've done something like this in the past. So I've listed for you guys a whole bunch of different social movements and time periods in the United States, whether that be the Chicano movement, which we learned a little bit about in House on Mango Street, or it could be, the civil rights movement, which we learned a little bit about from To Kill a Mockingbird, or maybe you want to do a time period in the United States. Maybe you think Jim Crow era, again, we learned about that, is really interesting, or maybe you think the American Civil War is a fascinating time. You can write about that, or the space race or the Red Scare, whatever it's going to be. So the very first thing that we're going to be doing for this project is you're going to pick 3 different movements or time periods that you think, okay, maybe this is something that I would want to do as a research project. Okay, so let me show you what this looks like. So let me get to my assignment over here. Okay, so I'm here. I'm reading through this list. I think, okay, you know what? For number 1, it says list all the movements or time periods that you would like to research and study. You need at least 3 different movements or time periods. So I think, okay, the civil rights movement sounds really interesting. So I'm gonna write that here. I think that I've always been really interested in the Roaring 20s, so I'm going to write that here. And then I want to learn about the space race because I'm really interested in the Cold War and, just like the crazy things America did to, be psychologically better than other countries. Okay, so I write those 3 different movements I want to learn about. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do a quick research of each of those movements. And you're just going to give me a brief overview of what you learned about that research, right? So for your first movement or time period, just under number 2, I write, okay, I'm going to learn about civil rights movement. And then I'm going to, again, this is we're just getting a brief overview. So this is the only time throughout this whole project that going to Wikipedia is okay. So I'm just going to go on to Google and I'm going to look up civil rights movement. Okay. And it's going to bring me here, right? And so the very first thing that comes up is actually history.com, which is better than Wikipedia, so I'll look that up. Okay, so civil rights movement. Again, the idea is just get a brief overview of these different movements to figure out which movement you want to research more in depth. So I look at the civil rights movement, I see these different pictures, I can learn about Rosa Parks, or the timeline. I'm gonna go to the timeline because again, I'm trying to get a brief overview of what happened during the civil rights movement or what the civil rights movement is about. Okay, and so I come here and there's this different information. I read this information and then I'm just going to write in 4 to 5 sentences what I learned about the civil rights movement, and then under source, I'm just going to copy this URL and I'm going to post it here. Okay, so that's really the gist of this, right? You take your 3 movements, you research about them, you tell me in 4 to 5 sentences what you learned. So you'll do that for each of them, and then the last question you tell me which movement you want to do and why. So after researching all of them, I decided I want to do the Red Scare. I would like to research the Red Scare because of blah 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 blah, right? So, and I just tell you, you tell me why you want to research that movement, and then you pick your movement, so you're good to go. Okay, so this is just like brief overview. This is the research that isn't really academic per se. It's more just like what is going to pique your interest. So I'm giving you an option of what you can research there. Okay, so that's the very first assignment you need to do, is picking a movement or a time period that you would like to research more in depth. Now the second part is where we actually are going to begin researching our project. So it's under the questions that need to be answered. So for this project, I give you 4 different questions that you need to answer about your movement or time period. And then I tell you which source we're going to be working with this week. So if you look here, I say, for this project, you will answer a set of questions about your social movement or time period using critically approved and scholarly sources. I will split these questions and projects up over 4 weeks. For the first 2 weeks, we will be working with the Utah Online Library, where you will go through different databases to find the answers to your questions. And then I give you the password and username for Utah Online Library, which is online in school. So when you're not at school, which we're all not at school, you'll have to have a password. And then I give you the question that we'll be working with this week. So the question that you need to answer about your movement or time period is this: what interesting facts and events happened during your movement or time period? And you're going to answer in 7 to 8 sentences, so a long paragraph. Okay, so this is the most important part of this week's work. So to get to the Utah Online Library, you can just click on this link here. It opens up this. You'll then click on Utah Student Login. You'll put in the username, which is online, and then you'll put in the password, which is school. And then it brings you here. Okay, so for this assignment, we're going to be working with 3 different databases: Gale Reference Collection High School, World Book Online, and EBSCO High School. Okay, World Book Online, what it really is just an encyclopedia that you can, that's an academic encyclopedia, so which is online, which is really nice. So to get to it, you just click on Student, and then it brings you here. Now, an encyclopedia, what it gives you is basically an overview of information. So if you look at this prompt right here, what interesting facts and events happened during your movement or time period? World Book Online probably is a really good place to learn about that. So if I'm doing the Red Scare, I type in Red Scare, and then boom, up here, it looks like there's a whole column on the Red Scare, so I just click on it. And then here it's probably going to give me some information about, the overview of it, right? So it's a period of anti-communist fervor in the United States that reaches height in 1919 and 1920. Authorities raided the offices of labor unions, blah, 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 blah. So I could probably get a lot of background information. Like it says right here, background information about the Red Scare here. A good overview of what happened during the Red Scare here. And so I'll just read this entire article, which isn't very long. And then on this assignment, I'll just tell, I'll say in 7 to 8 sentences what I learned about the Red Scare here. And then what's also very important is citing where you got your information from. Okay, so if I were doing this, I read about it, I write down my answer in 7 to 8 sentences, and then we're going to be citing everything in MLA format. So the way you'll do that, you'll just click on how to cite this article, and then this MLA format citation comes up, and you can copy it and paste it into your assignment. So that's one of the reasons why these online databases are so great. Okay, so that's really the gist of this first part. So again, I'm splitting this up over 4 weeks. This first week, you're going to use Utah Online Library, and you're going to answer the question, what interesting facts and events happened during your movement or time period? Again, with Utah Online Library, you can focus on, you have 3 different databases that you can use. Utah World Book Online and Gale Reference Collection and EBSCO High School. Gale Reference Collection is really nice as well. The way I would do this is you get here and then you can just click on Power Search, which means it's going to search all of their databases on Gale. So I go to Gale, I just put in the Red Scare, and then all this information pops up. So they have magazine articles on it, they have academic journals on it, they have news articles on it. So it's a much more extensive sort of research that you get here. But you can learn some really interesting things about the Red Scare from Gale. But yeah, you want to be careful as well, because again, there's more things you can learn. So maybe use Gale when you're not looking for like such an overview of information. Maybe like look at Gale when you're trying to figure out leaders of the movement or whatever, right? So that's Gale. And then EBSCO High School. Again, it's a little bit like Gale. I don't like it as much as Gale, but you can click on History Reference Center, which is all about history, which is basically what we're doing. And then you can, research your assignment there. Red Scare. And it comes up with all these different articles on the Red Scare. McCarthyism and the Red Scare. Maybe that's interesting. I can click on PDF full text. And all of this information is going to come up. So that's really the gist of this assignment. Again, there's 4 different questions we're going to be answering. We're going to focus on the first question. You're going to find 4 different sources. This week we'll work on Utah Online Library. Next week will be Utah Online Library, and then we'll go forward from there. So that's one of the last assignments. And then remember this week as well, we have our book talks that are due as well. Okay? So make sure you do all those things. If you have questions, please jump onto the Wednesday chat. Also, again, realize the Wednesday chat, you can redo your assessment if you like, or do your assessment for the first time. Okay, guys, have a good day.